Hello, my name is Nayan Baraskar. I am from Department of Humanities, BSSS, Bhopal. In today's session, we are going to understand how our fundamental rights and fundamental duties are imbibed and enriched with ethical and moral values. So let's start. First, we have to understand what are the fundamental rights. Okay, so fundamental rights given in the part 3 of our constitution. Fundamental rights are called fundamental. Why? Why the word fundamental is given here? Because they are judiciable. If they are got violated, a citizen can move to even Supreme Court to get them implemented. So the fundamental and the rights part. Rights are very basic understanding, very basic need of humans. Humans cannot thrive and get development without rights. So fundamental rights given in our Indian constitutions are basic human rights for the development of humans. They are given both to the citizens, and some rights are universal, means any human being can enjoy those rights. Okay, so let's move on. Let's understand how many rights are there. So we can divide the rights majorly in 6 parts. Okay, so first we start with equality. Without equality, we cannot enforce the right development methods. So right to equality, it goes from Article 14 to 18. It talks about equal treatment of law, rule of law, the very basic understanding of political science, which talks about the law should treat everyone equally. That comes under this right. Then comes the second most important right, which is the right to freedom. It is there in Article 19. It gives majorly 6 types of freedom, and it lasts up to Article 22. The right to life and live with dignity comes under this article only. Then we will understand what are the third major type of right. It is right against exploitation. They are given in Article 23 and 24. It abolishes child labor and bandhuwa majdoori. It also opposes human trafficking. Then we have right to freedom of religion, means the person, the citizen of India, can profess, can practice any religion what he want. Then we have got cultural and educational rights for minority segments, because without the proper representation and development of minorities, a nation cannot become developed. So we have got minority rights in Article 29 and 30. And last but the most important one is our Article 32, which is right to constitutional remedies. This very right makes the fundamental rights the fundamental. This part makes them enforceable, according to which a person, if his right or her right gets violated, he or she can move to even Supreme Court to get it enforced. So the Constitution gives the right, but what is the mechanism to implement it? What is the mechanism? So the mechanism is known as the form of writs. Writs is the guardians of fundamental rights. With the help of writs, we can move to Supreme Court. Actually, the writs are formal written orders by the Supreme Court or High Court, means our higher judiciary, to implement the fundamental rights on the ground. We have major 5 types of writs here. The most important being the mandamus. To understand the mandamus, we have to understand the word's meaning. We have to understand the meaning of the word. Mandamus in Latin stand for we command. So according to this writ, if Supreme Court or High Court orders mandamus writ to any public official, that implies that he or she has to perform certain duty he or she supposed to be done. Then we have habeas corpus, prohibition, certiorari and quo warranto as well. Now we have to understand that what are the special features of our fundamental rights. What makes the fundamental rights very special? First of all, as we were discussing, that the rights are judiciable. They are not merely written as simple words. They are enforced with law. They are backed by legal procedures. So the citizens can directly approach to Supreme Court, bypassing lower courts if fundamental rights are violated. So this gives the citizens the very right of going to Supreme Court or High Court to get their fundamental rights, or even their some of the basic rights like the right to life. The second important special feature, we have to understand that these rights are not absolute. This means here that if government want to take some special measures to provide some reliefs or benefits to some sections of the society who are underprivileged, so these rights can come under reasonable restrictions. Reasonable restrictions means if a person can harm the state security, or it can create a law and order issue, or it can provide the sensitive information to any other enemy country of India, so his or her rights can be curtailed. So first of all, rights are judiciable, but they are not absolute. Third, the rights are amendable by Parliament. So we know that our supreme lawmaking body is Parliament. Fundamental rights are the most important part of our constitution. So if Parliament feels, if there is public opinion that some fundamental rights should be amended, the Parliament can amend the rights, but the basic structure of the constitution cannot be harmed. The basic structure of the constitution refers to what our constitution makers were intended to make this constitution. So this basic structure cannot be destroyed in order to amend the rights or any part of the constitution. As they are not absolute, they are suspendable as well, except Article 20 and 21, because they provide right to life and dignity. So they are suspendable during the time of instability. If India goes with war against any country, like we have faced such situations recently, so the government can suspend the fundamental rights in those cases. But the Article 20 and 21 can never be suspended. And in the last, the most important special feature of the fundamental rights is the judicial review power by our Supreme Courts. So court can declare any law unconstitutional if it violates the fundamental rights, like they have done in various cases. So these are the special features which makes our Indian constitution and fundamental right outstanding and unique at the world stage. Now, without duties, rights cannot be exercised. So we have fundamental duties in our constitution. It is there in the part 4A of the constitution, specifically Article 51A. Fundamental duties are inspired by Soviet constitution. There were initially 10 duties, and with the 42nd constitutional amendment, the 11th duty was added. I request you to pause the video and read these duties. These duties combine commonsensical aspects and some high moral values, like here as the 10th duty, strive for excellence. This is a very commonsensical thing that every human being should strive for excellence. Here, when it comes to uphold sovereignty, it is a very higher virtue which was mentioned in Arthashastra as well. So, we have got duties. Now, we will start understanding how religion, duty and ethics complement our Indian constitution. As we all know that India has a very long tradition of being moral and religious. The very basic concept of Dharma has been there since the ages in our society. In the Raj Dharma, Dharma was the basis of state affairs. The Rajan, head of state, cannot violate his Dharma. So one has to follow his Dharma. Dharma basically means duties before rights here. What Kautilya said, that the welfare of the people should be the aim of the king. So this is the duty of the king to make sure that his citizens are living happily. So our constitution and state affairs has been based upon the Dharma, which we still follow. Our constitutional heads take the oath before joining the office and they pledge to work according to Dharma. India has been an ethical country since the ages as well. India has so many ethical values in the form of its day-to-day affairs that we cannot even imagine. Imagine India being a violent country. It is not possible. It seems unimaginable that India goes violent. Indian national movement, the greatest movement of India, has been primarily non-violent. India has got harmony. India has got so much diversity, yet we are interconnected and we live with harmony. So we have got religious values which empowers us to live together, and also we have got ethical values which empowers us to live together happily. These two values, religious and ethicals, are enshrined in our constitution. Despite being the secular, our constitution imbibes these two aspects of. Despite being secular constitution, our constitution absorbs. Despite being secular in nature, our constitution absorbs ethical values as well as religious values. Ethical and religious values, both which are common to all religions, which promotes positive secularism, not negative secularism. Positive secularism gives space to all the followers of. Positive secularism gives the freedom of all the religions to thrive and live happily. Now, let's understand how the ethics are there present in our fundamental rights. The fundamental rights not only empower person, but it provides a moral dimension as well. They provide a legal nature as well as they are deeply rooted in universal ethical values. Our fundamental rights are not holier than thou. They are very practical. They are practiced in our day-to-day life. Let's take example of right to equality. All religions believe that all souls are equal. On this very basis, our fundamental right are giving right to equality. All religions focuses upon the virtue of truthfulness, which is Satya. Our constitution provides us the freedom of speech. It means you can have a voice, you cannot be deprived of speaking something. We have religious freedom as well, the most important aspect of Indian constitutional rights. It provides the ethical value of tolerance here. India is almost the most diverse country in the world. Still, we have Sarva Dharma Sambhava, which is tolerance towards each other. All religions, all minorities, all tribal peoples live here peacefully. And the most important right, which is right to life, it provides human dignity and sanctity of life to each and everyone. So these are the ethical aspects of rights in our fundamental rights. Now we are going to understand why we have got duties in our Indian constitution. Why don't we just enjoy rights and not the duties? Because without duties, one cannot enjoy their rights. In our Indian tradition, it is said that freedom comes with responsibility. Responsibility is something we can understood as duty. So rights must be earned through duties and they should not be given freely. Without duties, rights can be used in a negative manner, which can create social conflicts and disorders, which can create moral decline in the world, which will lead to the development of adharma, which is not prescribed by our Indian tradition. We have to obliged, we have to abide by dharma. So for abiding to dharma, we have fundamental duties here. We have got fundamental duties for our officials as well, which are their role and functioning. They are under checks and balances of each other. So we have got duties of citizens as well in the part 4A of our Indian constitution. So in this way, we have got rights for our development and then duties for our social obligation and moral restraints. Combining them, we get ethical democracy and responsible citizenship. Now, let's understand how these two, religion and ethics, makes constitution eligible to provide duty and welfare, which leads to development and peace. So we have got religion, which provides the higher virtues. We have ethics, which provides moral virtues. Our constitution provides legal mechanism here. Combining all of them creates duty and welfare, not only for the citizens, but for the world as well. So we are at the end of our session. We have got constitutional morality in our just society. Although we have not completely achieved the just society yet, still we are moving forward to it. Right? Fundamental rights and duties represent constitutional expression of India's ethical and religious tradition. India's ethical and religious tradition. They are not borrowed from outside. Fundamental rights and duties are not borrowed from outside. They are present in the Indian society for a long time. So they creates a very good foundation for becoming a responsible citizen and to make India a ethical democracy. So the vision of our constitution makers were to provide ethical values and justice, both in the form of fundamental rights. So as a citizens, we must be responsible. We must understand the importance of these rights and duties as well. So what you can do is first get aware about rights and duties, and then you can spread this awareness. Thank you so much for this session.